For the second time in 3 weeks, southern New Mexico is in disbelief. A police officer shot and killed.
ABC7's breaking news coverage continues from our New Mexico mobile newsroom.
I was in shock. I couldn't believe it because, like I said, I just saw him yesterday.
Tonight, it's the town of Alamogordo dealing with a tragedy they never expected. Within the last few hours, ABC7 has learned a lot about what police say happened.
Officers made contact with Mr. Moreno, and a foot pursuit initiated from this contact.
But when that chase was over, 2 people were dead, including the 33-year-old police officer who had an 8-year-old daughter.
Plus, witnesses tell us what they saw happen.
So, the cops had their guns drawn, and one in the field, I guess, it apparently shot him, and it was pretty gruesome.
It's a story we've been following all day.
And tonight, our complete coverage continues from our New Mexico mobile newsroom.
Well, we are tracking some showers and thunderstorms showing up on Doppler radar. We're going to have a look, show you where they are, where they're headed, coming up.
Where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7 at 6.
ABC7 with breaking news tonight. Crews are battling a fire on the 800 block of Wynn Road. The fire was upgraded just a minute ago from a condition 3 to a condition 4 fire. Condition 4 meaning the fire is very serious. This is a picture from our photographer on the scene, getting us the very latest. No word yet on any injuries or damage to the buildings, but we'll keep an eye on things and let you know.
And meanwhile, special rescue teams are working to recover a body on the 300 block of Coles. The fire department has tweeted a water team divers are being dispatched to help. Our newsroom is working to get you the latest details. As soon as we have any updates, we'll bring them to you online and later tonight at 9 on the CW and ABC7 at 10.
Since he was little, he grew up with my kids, with my son, my daughters. He's an awesome person, and his parents are awesome too. They're a very loving family, and it's a tragedy what happened to them.
Tonight, emotions are high in southern New Mexico, where an investigation into a police officer's death is intensifying.
New tonight, breaking details coming to us this evening from Alamogordo. That's where our New Mexico mobile newsroom crew spent the entire day. They continue our coverage of yet another officer shot and killed here on the borderland. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Cabrera.
And I'm Josie Ortegon in tonight for Estela Casas. The news broke this morning around 9 o'clock. ABC7 heard of a police shooting in the town about an hour's drive northeast of El Paso. And since then, we've learned 2 people are now dead. First, we've been gathering a lot of new details about the officer killed by a suspect he was reportedly chasing. 33-year-old officer Clint Corvinus was on the Alamogordo police force for 4.5 years. The police department says he died at the hospital. Police say he was shot on the 600 block of South Florida when Officer Corvinus and another began chasing 38-year-old Joseph Moreno. Police say Moreno was also shot during the chase. He was pronounced dead on the scene. We're told Moreno had 3 active warrants. Those charges include felon in possession of a deadly weapon, aggravated burglary, and escape from custody, among other violations. When we heard about this shooting this morning, we immediately sent ABC7's Darren Hunt to Alamogordo to gather reaction. Darren joins us live from our New Mexico mobile newsroom. He's at the scene of the shooting with the latest on a community now mourning the death of an officer. Darren.
Rick and Josie, it's been a really tough day here in Alamogordo for everyone involved in this. And just over my right shoulder here, you can see the body of the suspect still laying here in this field. This is still a very active crime scene at this point. We've heard so much lately about the shooting of officers elsewhere, but the shooting of Officer Corvinus has brought an outpouring of emotion in this town of about 30,000. How many shots were fired?
I heard 2, is what I heard.
Jonathan Baker, who works for a heating and cooling company, saw police shoot and kill the suspect.
And they were all jumping out of their vehicle, and it looks like they had just shot the, I guess, the suspect. And they went up to him to try, I guess, to see if he was still awake or alive.
Shortly afterward, he said the sister of the suspect arrived at the scene.
The sister was hysterical, screaming that that was her brother. It was quite an experience.
At police headquarters, a memorial of flowers for Officer Corvinus quickly formed. Dolores Troncoso knew Corvinus.
He's always happy. He has a daughter, You know, I just saw him yesterday. I think we're all in shock because he's a young man. You know, he's lovable. I don't know what else to tell you, but my memories of him, they're beautiful.
We also spotted the wife of a police officer in neighboring Tularosa. Trish O'Connor wept as she left flowers at police headquarters.
This hits way, way too close to home. This could be my husband, her daddy. It's just a senseless act. My husband was chasing the suspect just this past week. This could have been him. It's just way too much. It needs to stop.
We have to wake up every morning with my dad putting on that vest and going to work. My school was on lockdown, and the first thing I thought of was my dad okay? Is he gonna come home tonight?
Obviously a very emotional day for everyone. Several agencies remain here at the scene, including Border Patrol, State Police, the Alamogordo Police as well. Now, a short time ago, we spoke with a woman out here whose home is near where Officer Corvinus was shot. She was still shaking. She told me she watched as other officers gave Officer Corvinus CPR after he was shot. She told me it's going to take a long time for her to forget what happened. Rick and Josie.
Darren, a very tragic loss for the community of Alamogordo. Darren, thank you for that report. And tonight, the governor of New Mexico is yet again sharing her emotions with the borderland. Governor Susana Martinez sent ABC7 this statement saying, "I am again so very saddened to see that yet another courageous law enforcement officer has been killed in the line of duty." The governor also says, "I ask all New Mexicans to keep this brave officer's family and friends in their thoughts and prayers." And she adds, "The violence against our police officers has to end, and we must do everything we can to stand up for those who put their lives on the line every single day to protect us." Now, just 3 weeks ago, Governor Martinez was sharing a similar message about a young police officer from Hatch. The town is about an hour-and-a-half drive west of Alamogordo, but tonight, residents in both towns are standing side by side in thoughts and prayers. 33-year-old Officer Jose Chavez was killed on August 12th during a routine traffic stop in Hatch. A week later, friends, family, and officers from all over crowded into the Pan Am Center on the New Mexico State University campus. Chavez's body was taken in a motorcade to Las Cruces, where the crowd of thousands was waiting. Jesse Haynes is the man accused of shooting Officer Chavez. The Ohio man faces state and federal charges and could spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Just days after Officer Chavez's death, the U.S. honor flag passed through El Paso on its way to Hatch. The flag flew over Ground Zero after 9/11. Since then, it's traveled more than 7 million miles in the name of fallen firefighters and police officers who died while on duty. Remember, the Honor Network helped coordinate the entire funeral services for the Chavez family at no cost. The organization says the same will be offered to Officer Corvinus' family. Tonight, ABC7 confirmed the honor flag is coming back to our area in honor of Officer Corvinus. The custom transport vehicle known as Honor 1 is expected to leave Fort Worth and head this way sometime this weekend. As Darren showed, it's been a difficult day for the town of Alamogordo, the community in shock over this shooting and the killing of Officer Clint Corvinus. In 1984, Officer Bruce Richard was killed when he was struck by a tractor trailer at the scene of an accident. He was 29 years old. Back in 1973, 25-year-old Lieutenant James Monroe Vigil was shot and killed during a traffic stop on US 4 in Alamogordo. The gunman then took his own life. And more recently, also in the Alamogordo area, Otero County Sheriff's Deputy Robert Hedman was shot and killed in 2004. He was responding to a call of a domestic dispute. Hedman's partner shot and killed the gunman Earl Flippin. Investigators say Flippin killed his pregnant girlfriend before shooting Deputy Hedman. Our New Mexico Mulder Newsroom brought you coverage of Hedman's funeral 12 years ago. More than 2,500 people were there to pay their respects. In Doña Ana County, the sheriff's office lost Deputy Ruben Valles Carbajal Jr. in the summer of 1990. The 31-year-old was killed when a car almost hit his patrol car, causing it to roll over several times. And a year earlier, in 1989, Deputy Sheriff Carl Emmanuel Vocali was shot, or I should say was hit by a train, while responding to a burglary call. He was 44 years old. Our breaking news coverage began shortly after the shooting around 9 o'clock this morning. And in the last 9 hours, we've learned a lot about what investigators say happened. We carry the special news conference from the Alamogordo Police Department headquarters this afternoon live at KVIA.com. If you missed any of it or you would like to watch it again, the entire news conference is inside the article. You'll find it in our top story section. It's all part of ABC7's complete coverage of a second police officer killed in less than a month in southern New Mexico. And it comes from our New Mexico mobile newsroom.
Another deadly police shooting is still the talk of Las Cruces tonight, with video from an officer's lapel camera just released to the public. This is the same shooting that happened while Officer Jose Chavez's funeral was underway. Sirens were blaring. Body camera video shows officers rushing to the scene, screeching to a halt after finding the suspect, 36-year-old Juan Gabriel Torres, on the Loman Avenue overpass. The Las Cruces Police Department released that video hours ago, and with it, a letter from District Attorney Mark D'Antonio, who says the actions of the officers involved in the shooting were justified. ABC7's Evan Folan has the new information tonight, explaining why the District Attorney came to that decision. Evan.
Josie, before I show you the rest of that video, I want to walk you through the chain of events leading up to that deadly shooting. An hour and a half before Torres was shot, officers were called out after reports of robbery and theft of a pickup. The victim of that carjacking was an 86-year-old man, and this picture shows his injury. Police say Torres violently pulled the keys to the truck from his hand, causing it to bleed. Torres drove off soon after, and LCPD officers spotted the stolen pickup, tried to pull him over, but Torres refused and led officers on a brief pursuit. Officers abandoned the pursuit for fear of public safety, but saw the truck again as it drove by the initial crime scene shortly after. Officers pursued again, caught up to the vehicle after Torres had abandoned it in an attempt to carjack another vehicle. Then this happened.
Drop the knife! Get out of the way! Drop the knife!
With weapons drawn, officers repeatedly tell Torres to drop the knife. Torres ignores the orders while drinking a beer. Now listen closely. One of the officers asks if anybody has a taser. Then Torres lunges at the officer with the knife in hand, the video ending before it shows officers opening fire. This was the knife Torres was holding. Chief Jaime Montoya showing it during a news conference last week. The knife is almost as big as the chief's forearm. The size of the knife and threat from Torres to officers was most likely considered during the investigation of the officers' actions. 2 officers were placed on administrative leave after the shooting. They have since returned to work. Josie.
Evan, live tonight in our newsroom. Thank you, Evan.
The holiday weekend is here, and we have some good news for you.
Chief Meteorologist Doppler Dave Spielman has lifted that ABC7 first alert. The chances for rain are starting to drop. Tonight, the ABC7 mountain camera showing some light cloud coverage, but a good amount of sunshine to enjoy.
Chief Meteorologist Doppler Dave Spielman has your first forecast. Doppler?
Yeah, you know, we're still tracking a few showers and storms out there. And if we take a look at Doppler radar, you can see some of the activity. Got to zoom in tighter to this one on the east side of town, although it's really beginning to shrink here. You can see right around north there's Zaragoza Drive and Pebble Hills. That was a little bit bigger earlier, but really kind of fizzling out. Look at all the activity in and around Deming, central Luna County, even extending down towards the south. These storms have been bubbling up and making their way to the northeast, and also right around Hatch getting hammered. This is some very heavy rain making its way through